Hi, everybody. Before we get to another great interview, the Too Opinionated podcast could really use your help. And it's easy, it's free. IMDb, which is the entertainment database, imdb.com, named us a top 100 podcast. We came in at number 82. That's a big deal because there's 15 million podcasts and growing. So to be named to anybody's top 100 list, pretty big deal for us. And the way you can help is to go to imdb.com, look up the Too Opinionated podcast, and that's it. Just bringing our page up. That traffic really helps us out. Our YouTube channel is MeisterCon Pod. All we ask is that you subscribe. It's also free, but that really helps us to attract these amazing guests that we keep bringing on the program. And that's it. Two easy ways for you to support us, and we would really appreciate the help. Now let's get to that interview. Hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Too Opinionated. I'm so excited today. I've got actress, producer, director, writer, Kristina Denton. Welcome, Kristina. That's a lot.
Hi. It's a lot of hyphenates. I know we need to settle down, I think, on the titles. And I'm adding author to that too. I'm like, okay, everybody relax.
Oh, yeah. Could have said author. Yeah.
I know it's too many.
We could put in a dancer or, what
I
else?
was a dancer. It's
I
true.
know.
Listen, how about a storyteller artist? I don't know. Is that more all encompassing? Does that cover our bases?
I mean, we could probably just say entertainer and that would cover
Oh, sure. There we go. I don't know if everything I do is entertaining, but yes, we'll say that. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Kristina, let's start this way because I know we got a lot to cover,
Yes.
but let's talk a little bit about how you got into the entertainment business because that's not an easy business. What made you want to go into that?
No, apparently, according to my mother, I told her I wanted to be an actress when I was 2 years old. I have absolutely no idea what that meant. I don't know where I got the idea of even what an actress was, but that she stands by it to this day. So I think there was something in me that was, wanted to perform, wanted to tell
Yeah.
stories. And that just took a lot of shapes over my lifetime. I was writing short stories when I was younger. I was writing poetry. My grandmother was a poet and a published
Oh,
children's author. So
yeah.
I feel like something was in the family there. My dad was a very creative person. He was a singer. He loved to dance. So I think I was always exposed to storytelling of some kind. And in my soul, in my heart, even though I was from a small town, and yes, it was in California, but Hollywood could not have been farther from any of the culture that I grew up around. I grew up around sheep and cows and cowboys and football. And so there was just no talk of Hollywood or anything like that. But something just told me I knew I wanted to be a part of that process of telling stories that made people feel less alone. I remember
Oh, I
sitting
like
on
it.
my living room floor when I was little, watching the TV and feeling so connected to the characters that I identified with them, and I felt like, wow, they understand me, And maybe there were years I was getting bullied or something was happening, and I was like, but I want to be a part of that. So I put this seed in my head. Now, I didn't know you could study film in college. I just thought you either had to do theater or nothing, right? So
Right.
I did what my parents said. They wanted me to, we were talking about this earlier. They wanted me to study something else as a backup plan.
You got to have a
And so I
backup plan.
did. Oh, and I said, you know what? I'm going to study something that I know I'll use the rest of my life. So I studied health and fitness. I got a degree
Oh,
in
that's
exercise
smart.
science and
Yeah.
nutrition. And I thought this is lifelong information and it has definitely come in handy. And then the day I finished college, my bags were packed and I moved to LA. That's my story of how I got into it. So, yeah,
I mean, I think that's a fairly typical
it is.
story.
Yeah.
It just usually doesn't end with you actually being in Hollywood and working. Most people want to.
I know, doing the thing you set out to do, even though it takes almost 20 years. I mean, listen, like, yeah,
Well,
I know.
that's just
I
part of the
know.
process.
It is. It sure is. Yeah.
At least you
Hmm.
stuck to the plan. You didn't, get derailed
Well,
along the
and in
way.
my heart, there never was a backup plan. And I think that was the hardest part about it is that no matter how difficult, how many either, it wasn't so much the rejection from external sources as the internal war of, how do I figure this out? I know this is what I want to do with my life. How do I figure out how to make money? How do I figure out how to sustain myself while still being this person? And, you can do this as a hobby all day long, right? And go anywhere in the world and have community theater and make your own content. And now people can make their own content online, so they don't have to necessarily come to LA. But that was the plan for me. And I think, I heard, my graduation from acting school, there was a guy, he said persistence, 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 persistence. And I think the people I know that came here around the time I did, it's the stamina and the endurance that they had for no matter what was happening, that they were going to stay the course, and this is who they were. And eventually all of those people have had some sense of success because they stuck with it. And so I feel like there is something to be said about sticking with it.
Not easy to do, though.
No, it takes a lot of therapy and like I said, I think my biggest obstacle was always internal and not external, because you're grappling with the shame of, what if I don't make it? What if the thing doesn't happen? What if it doesn't look, it never looks like what you think it's going to look like, right? And so then there's facing that reality, and is it going to take too long? And especially as a woman, when you're thinking about children and family.
When do you pull the plug if it's not
right? And do I have to? And are there other people that are just incorporating children into the dream, as opposed to just saying, oh, now I have to abandon my identity and only focus on raising a family? And so that I feel like I was observing it all and kind of trying to figure out where I fit in that. And I definitely, looking back, I'm like, wow, I spent a lot of time in my early days listening to other people and what they did, and trying to feel like, okay, if they did it, then that's the path. Yeah. But realizing ultimately my path was always going to be mine. It was always going to be individual. It was always going to be, a set of, just a course that nobody else could have laid for me. And that's how it's happened so far. Because again, I feel like I'm just beginning, even though I've been in it for a long time.
Yeah.
Parts of it are just beginning, right?
Well, I like the way you do it, because you didn't just wait for opportunities to come along. You just created your own. And I think that's so important, when you're trying to break in, especially. You don't have time to just wait. You might be waiting for a while. Just create your own.
Yeah. And I think now it's just so easy to do that more than ever. I mean, back when I started doing it, this was before social media. Social media was maybe just starting, but nobody was really making content. Nobody was influencers. That didn't exist. And so I was like, oh, I'm going to make a web series, or I'm going to make a short film, and I'm going to put it online. You didn't really know. You didn't have a lot of options other than maybe YouTube or something to put things up. And so it was sort of like, I never wanted to wait around for permission to do the thing that I wanted to do. And I thought, well, I was in leadership in high school. I know how to bring people together, right? So, and soon enough, I was like, oh, that's what producing is. You called me a producer. I didn't even know I was producing, because I was just bringing a bunch of people together.
Yeah, but that's exactly what that is.
Yeah, and it was like, I love providing opportunities for other artists to do their work, whether it was a makeup artist or a cinematographer. It was just so fun for me to say, wait, I can just create a script, and then I can hire all these people, and we can find money. And that was just a really gratifying, and it's never stopped. I still love and get so much joy out of providing work for other artists. And I know everything has to start with the script and then money, right? 100%. Those are the two factors.
Well, and the great part about that is, even if it goes nowhere, if the project doesn't do anything, you're still networking. You're still getting your name out there, and maybe somebody that you work with, they've got a project at some point that you get involved in.
I mean, that's happened to me. That has happened numerous times. I mean, people I've worked with 10 years ago, all of a sudden they call me up and hey, I'm thinking a bit about you for this project. And one of the biggest projects I've ever done as an actor was exactly as a result of volunteering in a class at Chapman University. And the directing student who put me in his short film took the film to China, because that's where he's from, made his name for himself, got a $35 million TV series years later, called me up and said, I have a role for you. So like, you just never know, right? You never know who's going to remember you. And I remember people certainly that I want to work with all the time. So I mean, it's just, there's so many ways to get your feet wet, to start, networking. Now more than ever, it's just too easy to make your own work. So I highly recommend it for sure.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah. I had lunch today with Robert Ray Schaefer. He played Bob Vance on The Office.
Amazing.
And he lives here local, and he's helping us with a convention we got next month.
Cool.
But he basically retired moved from Hollywood back to West Virginia, kind of giving it
Wow.
up.
Yeah.
Well, they're spinning off The Office,
Yes,
and
a friend of
they
mine is in the show. Yeah.
oh yeah, well that's it. They
Check out the paper.
called
Yeah.
Robert and
Yeah.
were like, hey, we
Oh,
want
wow.
we want you back for this
That's
new one.
great.
And he's like,
Good
well,
for
I'd
him.
assumed I was done. And he's like,
Yeah, yeah.
it's like riding a bike. He got back in
I
there.
love it. That's
I mean,
great.
you never
Yeah.
know. It's
I
just
know.
once
You
you
just
work
don't
with
know.
somebody, assuming
Yeah.
it goes well,
Yeah.
you lead to anywhere.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hollywood, I think networking is probably more important than any other field. Not that it's not important in other fields.
Relationships, right? Like
Relationships.
it is. And you see, I think we've seen like you see the same actors working together, multiple movies, right?
Yeah.
You've got like the Judd Apatow crew, you've got like the Will Ferrell, you see them kind of always, and it's like I get it. It takes a lot of trust and a lot of faith in the people you're working with. And when they come through, you want to keep them close and do it
Yeah.
again, right?
Well,
And
and
so
if you had a good
yeah,
time working with them, especially, why
yep,
wouldn't you want to
that's
keep
right.
doing that?
Yeah, yeah, it's true. It's true. I have a few different pods like that, and one of them is who we did Hollywood Grit with. So that was a really exciting thing to work with a bunch of our friends that had put in their own time and their own energy into their careers, and have been here around the same amount of time, almost 20 years or more, and just put in that time, and they've earned their place. And for us to all kind of join forces and make this film was just such an incredible, I know director Ryan Curtis, that was his favorite part of this whole process, because he was really the epicenter of just really pulling all these people together to work. And I think he has a similar sensibility as I do, is loving employing people that you believe in. So that was a great process.
Yeah, well, and I love that. Let's talk a little bit about Hollywood
Yeah.
Grit. Tell me a little bit about what the movie's about.
So the movie is about, let's see, I'll try to do to my own words as the writer, if I can do this justice, because I'm terrible at this. I'm like,
you should know how to recap.
That's not the part I'm good at. I'm not good at the part of telling you what the thing I wrote is about. It's like, no, I don't know. It's the thing I wrote. And yeah. So it's about a kind of down on his luck ex-detective who is looking, his daughter, who he's estranged from, has a tough relationship with, goes missing from a nightclub in Hollywood that she works at as a singer. And so as he's sort of looking for her and sort of peeling back the layers of this mystery, he runs into a lot of different circles of crime and backstabbing and it's this wild sort of thriller, but it has noir elements and of course action, and Ryan and I, when we write together, can never leave out comedy. So it's a lot of genres that are blended together. It has 10 original songs, which is really incredible.
Who wrote
because
the song?
We had these incredible musicians, John Gus, Sarah Cardenas, and our composer, who also wrote a lot of the music for the songs, Nick Gomez. They are incredibly talented. Previously had worked with Ryan on a lot of different things. And so he called him up and said, listen, we've got this movie. There's a lot of music in it. I want to write original music. Whether it was because we couldn't afford it or he wanted to employ them. I think it was a little bit of both. Let's get some original songs done. They had 2 weeks to write the music.
Oh my God.
Because we needed the songs by the time we were going into production. Yeah, this whole thing came together very quickly.
That's fast.
From the idea of when I was approached to write it to production was about 2.5 months. 2.5 months. We were.
How did that come about? I assumed it was like something you had come up with, but somebody approached you for it.
Traditionally, there's a script that exists, right? And you either go find the money, you go find talent, somehow it comes together. But typically there's a script that exists. This was very backwards. I was approached with, from Ryan, our director and my co-writer, I have money. I know I want to shoot in LA and we want to put these actors in it. So let's make something. And I said, well, what's the idea? And he goes, what do you got? So I said, wait. So we talked a lot about how these people could all fit together in this world. And because one of the women was a singer, but I didn't hear she had any acting experience. And I thought, well, what if we just get her kidnapped? That way we don't risk that maybe she's not an experienced actor.
Right. Maybe she's not
because we've got these yeah, we've got these heavyweight actors, and I'm like, this is going to be really high quality. I can't risk that. So let's just have her sing, get her kidnapped, and then the whole movie will be centered around trying to find her, right? So
Yeah.
that is how the idea was originally born. It was very backwards compared to most projects, and so we were putting it together. I wrote it. We wrote it with Max in mind, Max Martini, the lead.
Yeah.
He did not know we were creating this project for him. So we had to pray that he loved the script enough to sign on, because he was only available for a very small window between his big projects he was doing. And I'm telling you, it was just so lucky that he said yes. And then everything started from
Did
there.
you have a backup in case he didn't say yes?
No.
Yeah. That's what I figured.
No. Not at all. Not at all. And then pretty soon, our casting director said he was getting such incredible feedback. We were turning down like some name people, like
well,
four
it's
roles.
A great cast. I know you had Linda Purl. Linda's been the
she
podcast.
is.
Well, and Patrick, her and Patrick are together, so you had both.
Let me tell you, these are two roles for them that you have never seen them play before.
Oh,
and I think I think that part of that was the draw for them. They have a relationship with our executive producer. So I sort of knew, I didn't know her work as much as I knew his. I didn't know she was a singer. And so when I
Linda can sing really well.
I had no idea. Yeah. And so I make her the owner of the nightclub, and I'm like, she's going to sing in this too. And it just worked out so well. And, this is I honestly, like, she's might be my favorite character in this entire movie. She absolutely is so incredible in this movie, and has these brilliant moments that are just, I really think she's going to get a lot of positive attention from this, because she just did an incredible job. Incredible job.
She's a talented actress for sure.
Yeah. And then Patrick, this is nothing like you've ever seen. I mean, he is so funny in this. He's the comedic relief for the whole film. He is hysterical. You'll love his role.
I'm excited to. They've got a bread company together.
Yes, they do. It is like Duffy's Dough or
Duffy's
something.
Dough. Yeah, they're launching in West Virginia. I guess Linda's
I love
got family from West Virginia.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So they're launching here. But they're coming through town, and the two of them are going to do a play at our local theater.
Oh, amazing. You've got to go
early next year. I'm excited. I'm excited for it.
Oh, yeah. That's great. I love it.
And they're both so talented. And, they've been acting for 50 years.
50 years. 50 years.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's insane. I was so humbled to work with them and have them, just like the collaboration. It was so cool and respectful and professional. And it made me just feel, it gave me a lot of validation, I'll tell you that much, as a writer, to have them not only be excited about the script, but really enjoy the characters. I'm like, oh, okay, I did something right, because they've just, how many scripts have they read in their lives? Can you imagine? Right. So,
I'm guessing if it was terrible, they wouldn't have done it.
I don't think they would have. I really agree with you.
When you had Tyrese Gibson.
That was a big surprise. That was a big surprise that he signed on. And, we did not know it was just such a get in a way for us as far as marketing and stuff. And so, and again, another role that you don't typically see him play. He's the straight man. He is like a straight man detective, like straight up. And, our lead Max is more the comedian in it. So it's just really fun to watch him play opposite each other.
Did you write yourself a cameo?
You know what? No, originally I had potentially wanted to play one of the roles, and, the way that we were putting it together, it was either, they had to either be singers, or we were looking for people that were kind of names. And I'm like, I'm not a name. So we were trying to give our movie the best opportunity to be marketed. And I was like, okay, like, that's fine. Like, I will take the back seat on this one, because it's more important to me that the movie is as good as it can be, and we have the best chances of it getting seen than for me to elbow my way into a role. You know what I mean?
You're not waitressing at the bar or the nightclub, nothing?
No, Ryan threw himself in there. He asked me if I wanted it, and I said, look, I'm like, it's somebody else will value a quick little extra flyby. I don't need that. I've done that. I'm good. But let's give it to somebody else who would be much more excited for that opportunity. So that's what I kind of defaulted to that. But
that's the producer in you.
It is. You're right. No, it's true. It's 100% true. I was like, what does this project really need? If I really wanted to fight for something, I probably could have, but I was like, you know what? No, I think it's more important that we make the best version of this that we can.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love that. And
Yeah.
you've been directing a little bit too.
I have small things. I'm
Yeah.
on my way there. I think what
Did
I
you
know.
practice any on set since you had a experienced director? Did you learn anything from him?
Yes, and I will say, like, we work really well together because I wanted to be there. A lot of times the writer's not on set, right?
Right.
Especially with film, the director's kind of like, okay, I got it. And we worked on the script together, especially breaking story. Our process is very, we've done it like 6 different projects together now at this point. So we have this rhythm down.
Yeah, you're
Um,
comfortable together.
yeah, and I always say, like, there's directors I feel like that have they come from more of the technical background, right?
Yep.
You have like the technical directors, which I think Ryan is more of. He comes from the camera world and he really understands how to make things
That's
look
important.
amazing, important. And then you have maybe actors that have turned into directors, which is what I would eventually be. So they have more of the awareness of how to speak to cast and really get performances out of people. And I think like so for me being on set, I felt like I was adding to that element, sort of bridging any of that, especially because we wrote this so fast. Like Ryan and I didn't get a lot of time for prep together,
Right.
right? So I felt like it was pretty valuable that I was there because a lot of the actors were coming up to me like, because I don't want not to like. I have apparently, from what I've been told, I have very sophisticated writing sometimes, right? My
Yeah.
dialogue can have a lot of
Yeah. Yeah.
specific cadence to it, and if you're not really looking at all the clues and understanding the rhythm, it can be a little complicated. So I think it was good because there were times where I needed maybe to translate certain things, or like we'd collaborate with that. Oh, maybe this moment, or try that, or when about that. So it was a very collaborative
I
process.
love that.
And it was fun that
Well,
way. Yeah.
dialogue
So
makes the movie, my opinion.
character and dialogue. That's for
Character and
me.
dialogue.
The
I
reason
mean,
Ryan and
the
I,
big
yeah,
budget special effects, those are
yes,
awesome,
sure.
but
That's a different kind of storytelling.
that's
Yeah.
a different type of storytelling.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But when you're dealing with indie, right, you're dealing with low budget. You can't pay for it. We have all practical effects. We couldn't pay for special stuff to happen. So we really had to make this incredibly character driven.
Yeah.
And I always think about, I love TV because we come back week to week to watch shows because we're invested in the
Right.
characters. And so for me, as an actor first, right, that's how I started my storytelling process in film. I call myself an inside out writer. I approach everything from character and dialogue first, and then I kind of build the world around that.
Yeah.
Whereas Ryan is more of world building story. And so we work well together because we have this very different approach to bringing something to life. And so often I'd be like, okay, this is a big action scene. What do you see? Right. And then he's translating for me. And then I'm like, okay, let me I'll get into the minutia now and actually work with the dialogue and the characters. Right. So it's just this really great process we have together. And I had so much fun creating these characters because we do have a really big cast in this movie.
Yeah.
Like it's for
I
as
noticed that.
independent.
I thought it seemed like a
We
big
got a
cast.
lot. We got a lot going on. And you want to give every character their arc. You want to have them have a satisfying ending, and it's really tough to kind of weave that spider web and have it all make sense in the end. And
Right.
so we did our best in the short amount of time we had to do that. Yeah.
When's the movie out? When can we see it?
So it just released August
Yeah.
22nd. It's AMC theaters. I'm not quite sure how long we'll get a run for. Independent films
That's
can be one
awesome though that
weekend.
you got a
Oh,
theater run.
listen, we
Amazing.
had, I think, almost 40 theaters across the country. So I cannot complain. It's very
That's
exciting.
awesome.
Yeah. And I don't know if we'll get another weekend. A lot of times with independent films, they'll do one weekend and I go, okay, like let's move it to streaming or something.
Right.
So I have yet to hear because we're just fresh off this first weekend and just had our premiere. So we had an incredible premiere. There were so many wonderful people there supporting us that seem to really enjoy the movie. And we've been getting great feedback so
Did
far. So
you
hopefully it
did you
sustains.
go to your closet and pick out something to wear, or did you have to go and get some help with what to
No,
do?
I got some help for this one. This is the
Okay.
biggest thing that I've ever done. So I
Yep.
was like, okay, I need some help. So I got this incredible dress loaned to me. So I can't complain. Yeah, it was a really fun. And, we have this sort of noir old Hollywood vibe, and I
Yeah.
wanted to lean right into that. I always said if nothing ever happened in my life, I was going to become a lounge singer outside of Reno. I don't know why outside of Reno. I always felt like you don't want to, it's like, no, I don't want to be in the main. I want to be somewhere out on the outskirts where people have to like work to come and see me because it just feels more sad or something. But I love the idea of a lot. So I wanted to dress kind of to the part and it
Yeah.
was just fun to do that. So yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Because you never know. I mean, anymore,
When in Rome.
you never know when you're going to get a premiere.
When in Rome, you got to do it. You got to lean. I leaned all the way into this one, and it was just incredible. I had family flying in from all over the country and across oceans, and it was just absolutely incredible. It was an incredible time. Yeah.
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 That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see it. I saw the trailer and it looks so good. And obviously I love the cast. So
yes,
I can't wait. But it makes me want to see it more, knowing that you concentrated on the dialogue and the character development. That's so important. I mean, action's always good, and mysteries and crime dramas, and all of that, and noirs are terrific. But you know, if your character development sucks, probably not going to be.
I know that if we have to care, right? We have to care, and the thing that's so cool about Max's character is that there's a lot of like unlikable qualities about him as on paper. But then the way he played and I knew because I knew him, I was like, I know what he's going to bring to this. He was so endearing in his messiness. And I think the anti-hero, that's what we love, you know, because it brings the humanity out in our hero, right? It's like, oh yeah, he's not perfect. I'm not perfect. And yet we're still trying to do the right thing. Right. So that's what I loved about how he sort of married this character together. It was beautiful. It was incredible. Yeah.
That's pretty great. That's pretty great.
Yeah.
So you're working on a book.
I am working on a book.
Is it a memoir or is it?
It's a memoir.
Okay.
It's a memoir.
So
I know.
Tell me about that.
Real life.
Obviously, it's about you, but what's the story?
Yeah. So it's called You Don't Know Dick, which is a very fantastic title. I'm very proud of that. So it is about the time that I spent working at an erectile dysfunction clinic or a wellness center that's specialized in male sexual dysfunction. However you want to phrase it.
Explain how that job happened. Was that before?
Very good question.
During? Yeah.
During. Wow. This was one of my day jobs.
Okay.
No, I started as an office manager at this wellness clinic, right? And this was before the service existed. We were, doing IV nutrition and hormones and cryotherapy. And, there's one of these in every strip mall in Los Angeles, right? So this is not an uncommon type of business, but in order to set ourselves apart a few months in, the owners were like, we need to do something different or we're never going to make it financially, right? And so I'm just the office manager trying to make consent forms and sign people in for cryotherapy. And so the husband of the duo heard the Joe Rogan podcast about this, and they talked about this service. And he said, oh my gosh, I've got our grand idea. We're going to save penises and we're going to save our business. And so he came to me and said, hey, you're our only employee. So here's what's going to happen. You're going to get certified and you're going to do the treatments. I thought, he's like, well, you have a background in health and fitness and you're an actor, so you know how to talk to different people. And I thought, well, that's all true. My comedy brain was automatically turned on. I said, did you just say I'm going to be a dick fixer? Because I think that is hilarious. However, please pay me more money because this is an insane degree. So next thing I know, I'm on a plane to Tucson, Arizona, getting certified in a one-day workshop, flying back, and now I am in this job. Now, what was wild about it, again, as I first approached it, I thought, okay, I'm going to take notes. This is so funny. I'm going to write a workplace comedy about this, about the anti-aging industry. This is hysterical. And all of that was very true. And I was collecting these stories. Now, I would say probably 4 months into the job, I'm like, wait a minute, I'm seeing a pattern here. I'm seeing men that are full of shame. I'm seeing men at their most kind of embarrassed, lowest, vulnerable. And I did not realize men had that in them, right? So I grew up, my father was an alcoholic. He was verbally abusive. I didn't get a good foundation for trusting and feeling safe with men. And this was all during the Me Too movement, right? So I'm sort of sitting there like, wait a minute, the world is talking about men in this way. I know this to be true in my own life, but this is very new. Something, we need to talk about this. Yeah. So I started feeling this like need to champion men for the beautiful, sensitive, emotional creatures that they are, that they just can't really show in public. And I thought something has to be done.
We're not supposed to show those emotions in public
because it isn't safe, right? Nobody accepts you. There's all this stigma in society and pressure to be a man or whatever that means. And I know it's changing now, but But this is like during this wild time in the world when, again, we're exposing all the bad sides of men. And
Right.
it was just like this really interesting dichotomy for me to say, okay, wait, but both are true and that's okay. And how do we marry these conversations and make it just about the humanity of men, right? And not all men are one way or the other. And so what I didn't realize was happening to me, because my father died right when I got back from the training, he passed away from cancer. So before I started really the actually working on the clients, so what was happening to me in hindsight was that I was really learning a lot about him, and it was helping me forgive him. It was helping me make peace with him, because I was starting to realize,
I mean, that's cathartic.
Very good for me, cathartic. Yeah. And it was through these men's stories and their heartbreak and their emotional sensitivity that I realized how much pain my dad was in, and that he had no tools and no resources to deal with that except for drinking and for being absent. Right. And so ultimately it helped me forgive him and find peace. And so I started looking back on this year of my life, and I was like, I have to write a pilot. I have to write something. And it started as a pilot. Yeah. I always had the title because I just found it fascinating.
Well, it would be a good show.
I am like, I still, want it to be a show. And so I went into that then, and then we had the writer strikes and all these things happen and COVID and all that, right? So I went, okay, you know what? I've never written a book, but I think to tell my whole story and to tell it right, it needs to first be a book. Yeah. Right. And so about a year ago, I got the idea, and it just all came about this year. And we are in the process of I think it should be getting published January 2026.
Oh, that's exciting. That's
I know.
Fast.
It's coming up fast. So we're sort of, moving from the movie stuff right into the pre-launch for the book. So it's going to be really exciting. And there's a whole lot of things that might come out of this, like podcasts and, some talks.
Well, I was going to say it would lend itself to a podcast. You should think about it.
Yeah. Oh, and it's definitely in the works. And I'm excited about that because, I'm not going to pretend to say I'm a doctor. I'm not a therapist, but I know what I witnessed and I know what it taught me. And I feel like it's important to bridge this gap between the toxic masculinity and the toxic femininity conversations and bring them together. Yeah. Because really my book it's about male shame from a female lens. And that's a very unique way to sort of talk about that. I love that
because I never would have expected that was taking. I assumed it was more going to be more a comedy, humor.
The gimmicky. And that's the way in. I'm grabbing people in with that because it is like, wait, you did what? Because that's not something you hear about every day, which of course not. And for it to, I was already a writer, I was already an actress. And so I'm like, well, you write what you know. That's so let me take this incredible moment of my life that impacted me so dearly, especially with grieving the loss of my father, who was a monster, right? And the complication with that, and put it all together in this story. And so, it's covering so much in one book, but it lends itself to really, I think, being quite universal and relatable to a lot of people. Yeah. And in the grief and the healing that is needed with the daddy-daughter relationship. So yeah, I think, we're trying to accomplish a lot with this thing, but I'm hoping we can. I really do, because I think there's a lot to talk about with it. So
I think it sounds fascinating, and you already surprised me. That's not the angle I would have thought, but I love that angle, and it's so needed. If we can get to the point where men are just comfortable talking about issues that they have, then maybe we get rid of some of the negative
stigma that
we have with it.
I think women, and we all have a responsibility in that, right? Because there's a lot of women who've given up on men and just put them over here into the category.
Probably deservedly so.
Deservedly so, right? And there's plenty of experiences that validate all of that behavior. Yeah. But I to bring the conversation back, we have to consider the humanity in everyone. We have to consider that, we also have to be aware that we can change. We are teachable in the right environment and right circumstances, right? So I'm not, going to sit here and say all men are great and we should just forgive all of them. And I was like, no, but I think there's a way to bridge the gap. And I want to help do that with this book. So, yeah.
That's exciting. I still think it would make a good show.
Oh, I have to. Luckily so I have these incredible publishers, Storyteller Media. Their parent company is called Curiosity Entertainment, and they are in fact a production company, and they will be helping me try to turn this into a TV series. So that is our next step. Yeah. It's exciting.
There's a lot of different ways you could do that. I mean, you could almost do it like a reality type of show.
I think there's that arm, and then there's the scripted arm where we can really get in and explore the backstories of all the different wire, because listen, I did not just see men in their 50s and 60s, right? I had clients from 18 to 80 years old, and there's so many different reasons why they were in my clinic. And I think those are all really beautiful ways to get insight into male shame and male vulnerability,
Yeah.
and that we've never really seen before.
Well,
So I
I
think
really
it's,
like that
yeah,
because, sometimes it's a physical issue. Sometimes it's a mental issue. Sometimes it's an
yeah,
emotional issue. And if you're
100%.
looking
Yep.
at all of those, that's pretty interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So let's talk about dicks and have it all be fine and everybody gets along. No. Moral of the story, right?
Well, so
Yeah.
when this one gets made, are you the doctor running the clinic?
In the show,
Yeah.
I would love to be. I have a couple of, I have my eyes on a few different celebrities that could play me in the I mean, I have to be a younger version of myself a little bit, but yeah, I mean, it would be great. But I think, again, it'll be what is best for the project, because it's more important for me the story gets told than for me to be the star of it. So, but I'm sure I could find a way to be in there somehow, some way.
Well,
So
I'm
yeah,
rooting for you to start.
thank you.
I
Thank you
can do
very
that,
much.
and see, then it's not you won't have anybody saying, "Oh, yeah, she cast herself." Yeah,
That's right.
yeah,
But that's
yeah.
it.
You
There
can
you
say,
go.
"Well,
Yeah.
Mike said it was okay.
That's right. Mike said, so it's fine.
It's fine."
There it is. Yeah, exactly. I love it. Yeah.
No, that's really exciting. I like
Mhm.
the fact that you've always been writing. It seems like
Yeah. Hmm. From
you know,
early in my life.
early
Yeah,
on.
it's always been a way I express myself. I've got journals and diaries and boxes of these things, in storage. And so it's always been a way I express myself. And I think, it's so funny. My mom loves to remind me, don't forget you wrote a poem for your senior graduation and it made it into the program. I was voted best poem. I was like, yes,
Don't
mom. So
forget.
it's been happening since very early in my life, and yeah, so it's really no surprise that this is kind of where we're at in my journey of storytelling. Hmm.
What's your mother think of you writing this book?
Oh, well, I've read her. She's the only person that has read. I've read over the phone to her a few chapters, and it's extremely vulnerable for her to hear, but she's so incredibly inspired by the way I'm telling the story.
Yeah.
I think she's very proud of it, and it's saying a lot about our family and her marriage, and a lot of that's. But she said,
Well, that's
"Listen,
kind of
like
what I was thinking, what she thought about
yeah."
it. Yeah.
And she said, it's all true, and I think it's important, and I think if it's going to help somebody, then it's worth it. So
Yeah.
she's in a really good place about it. Thank
Yeah, that's
goodness. Yeah.
awesome. Yeah,
Hmm.
good for you. So
Yeah.
going forward, you've been kind of leaning into the writing side. Any
Yeah.
plans to get back into the acting, or is this where you're
I
staying
mean,
for a while?
it's always going to be my first love is
Yeah.
performing and being on stage. And I think what's cool about this book is that my goal, I'm doing sort of the prep for this is I'm going to do a sort of show to coincide with the book launch, where I'm on stage telling my story in a
Oh,
bit
like
of
a
a
one
stand-up
woman show.
way. Yeah, like a one-woman show, a bit of a
Ooh.
variety
Oh, you got to
show.
let me know about
Um,
that. We'll come see that.
yeah. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm excited. I was like, I owe it to myself. So I've been doing a little bit of stand up this year to kind of prep
Yeah.
myself. And I've got another show coming up in September again, it's sort of just like teasing the idea of how does this feel to talk to a group of strangers
Yeah.
about my story, and it's landing very well. So I think it's the publishers are supporting me doing. I said, look, I'm not just a writer who hides in a cabin and writes books and sends them off. I have this other side of me
Yeah.
that's maybe a little unlike a lot of authors, and so I think if I don't honor that, I'll miss something. So I'm leaning into that, and acting is always going to be there for me. I think it's just ever since COVID, the writing opportunities have just kept
Oh,
coming,
yeah.
and so I just I
No, you got
decided
to
to
lean
keep.
into those when they're there.
Yeah,
You never know
yeah.
when it's going
So
to come back around.
that's right. That's
Well,
right.
was
So
the stand up hard?
it's always been, oh God, I was so terrified, but at the same time, I thought, I'm going to use my acting training to just connect with the audience, right? And
Yeah.
play moments. I know my story, right? This isn't some script I'm memorizing about a character whose life I've never lived. This is my story. I'm the expert on
Yeah.
this, right? So there's nothing that I should be able to, and I think I engage with the audience a lot. I ask some questions, and then that kind of starts my stories. And I had a lot of fun doing it so far because it just feels very it's entertaining, right? I'm kind of like,
Yeah.
I'm setting them up for something, and then I take it, where they don't expect it, and then all of a sudden they're like, she did what with her life, right? So it's the shock. I like shock value. I grew up
Yeah,
in a
yeah.
family who loved to tease each other and loved to play jokes on each other. So shock value and pranks is a very safe space for me. So it
Yep.
feels right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Is
Mhm.
there a genre that you haven't got to do that you would like to do, writing or acting?
Oh, oh gosh, have I writing or acting? I've done every genre, I
And
think.
that's
I've
what I
even done
thought. You've done
sci-fi.
most of them.
I've even done
Maybe a
sci-fi.
Western, maybe.
Wait, did I do a Western? See, this is so bad. I'm at this place
Yeah,
where I'm like, I can't
I
remember
don't
the
know.
things I've done. I grew up in the country, so I think I've run from anything Western as much as I can. But I have a lot of friends who are from the city that would love to do Westerns. I one of my favorite projects that I've written that I think would be extremely fun is an action sci-fi comedy.
Ooh,
Now, when you're dealing in that space, you're dealing with the comic books. It's the kind of the
yep,
world you need a big budget. You just need the budget
you
because you
do.
want to do these extremely cool special effects
Yeah.
and build these worlds and these visuals. It's getting more accessible, I think, with like these cool new, there's a big I can't remember what the name of that screen is called that everybody's using, but it feels like if I could get something like that made or write for like Marvel or
Yeah.
I'm very for the first time in my life in COVID, I allowed myself to write without thinking about budget. I always wrote with a budget in mind. So
Yeah.
because you're trying to get the thing made, right?
That's right.
Then in COVID, I said, you know what? Ryan and I wrote the script together. I was like, you know what? Let's just write and not worry about how this is going to get made. I just want to see where my mind.
Yeah.
And I learned. I'm like, wow, I really like sci-fi and comic book stuff. This is really exciting because you can just let your imagination just go.
Yeah. If
So
you can imagine it, it's possible.
it's possible. And so I think that might be a space that I would love to play in as a creator, and then potentially animation, because that's another space where you can
Yeah.
just
Yeah. Have
do
you
all
have you
kinds of
ever have
things.
you ever done voice work?
I have
A
a
little
little
bit.
bit, not a
Yeah.
lot, but yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So fun.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Animation's kind of I think it's kind of fun. And
Yes.
it in some ways it's harder to get into than,
Yeah,
in-person
I've
acting.
heard that.
Yeah.
I've heard that.
But
Yeah,
once
I have
you're
a few
in, you're
friends.
in.
I know. Then you're in. You're in. Yeah, that's it. That's it. So yeah, I would say those two genres would be the most fascinating because of the liberty you can take as the writer to just explore your imagination.
I love
Yeah.
that. I love that.
Hmm.
So the current movie is Hollywood Grit. It's out
Hmm.
now. We're not sure
Hmm.
for how long it may go to
We
streaming.
don't know. You got to go
So if you
see
got
it.
a
Yeah.
chance to go to the theater, go.
Yeah. Hmm. That's
Yeah.
right.
Now,
Yeah.
Kristina, thank you for taking a little bit of time. This has been amazing. I
Absolutely. It
can't
was so
wait.
nice to chat
When
with
I
you.
go see the movie, I'll let you know what I think because
Now you have a whole different perspective
I
on it.
got a
That's
whole
right.
different perspective. I
Yeah.
already knew I loved the actors in it, so
Hmm.
I'm
Yeah.
excited to see it.
Good. No, it's a lot
I
of
mean,
fun. It's a
I'm a little
ride.
disappointed you're not in there, but
I know.
that's
Listen, I'm
okay.
sorry. Just my name. Yeah. Just my words, just my POV on the world. No big deal. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you had a slight, part
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
Yeah. That's right.
Well, okay. So, Christine, before I let you go, a couple little things. Is there anything else that you're working on that we can keep an eye out for?
Not that I can really talk about just yet.
Yeah.
There's some things in the works, hopefully another film soon.
Very
Yeah,
good.
that's I'm hoping for it. So yeah. Hmm.
We like films.
I know. We do. We sure do.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
the last thing is where can we find you on social media?
So Instagram, Kristina7Denton, and then I've got a website, KristinaDenton.com, that is about to launch, and we'll have all the
Nice.
things that are happening and upcoming, and the book will be on pre-order soon, so that'll be exciting.
That has to be exciting.
Mhm.
Are you going to do some book signings?
Yeah, we're gonna do a tour, so hopefully I'll come see you.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah,
We like books in West Virginia. Come on.
yeah, yeah. No, hopefully nobody will run away from my title, but let's go.
I think I really do believe that's going to do really well. It's a great
I
idea.
hope so. Thank
And
you.
what a
Yeah,
unique perspective. It's never been
yeah.
done. as far as I know.
It's that one story I have that nobody else can tell. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I'm running with it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you have to tell it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, Kristina, thank you so much. And open invitation. Maybe when the book comes out, you can come back and give us an update.
I love it. I will do. Absolutely. So good to talk to you. Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're so welcome. This has been the best. I've had such a good time,
I
and I
know,
can't wait to
likewise.
see the movie. I think it's going to be terrific. But I may even be more excited about the book.
I mean, this is
The
the
toss
thing.
up.
We got a lot to offer right now.
So much going on.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, Christine,
Mhm.
hold on one second. Kristina Denton. The movie is Hollywood Grit. It's out now. Do yourself a favor, check that out. If you're a fan of Linda Purl, she has been on the podcast. It was terrific. Please go check that interview out. We're working on getting Patrick Duffy on the show as well. The book is called You Don't Know Dick, and I'm really excited for this book, and I hope you are too. It's completely different from what I thought, and I just love the idea. So You Don't Know Dick, it should be out early next year. Keep an eye out for a chance to pre-order and get yourself a copy. Kristina's so talented. I love that interview. If you're finding us for the first time, our YouTube channel is MeisterCon Pod. Please subscribe. Really helps us out. Doesn't cost you anything. Our website's meistercon.com. You can find over 1,000 episodes on there, audio and video versions. If we're doing anything in studio, if we're going on location, maybe going to a book signing with Kristina, if we're covering a convention, anything we have going on, be on the website, meistercon.com. So please check us out there. Thank you guys so much. Till next time. Bye, everybody.